Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Awards Gambit. I hope everybody is doing well and that everybody is enjoying the final days of the long month that is January. Since the Oscar nominations came out Tuesday and we have all the major award nominations for the season, we're now entering a bit of a quiet period until the BAFTAs, which aren't until February 18th. So I figured I would take this time to do some movie reviews. The first of which is none other than Mean Girls. Got my pink shirt on, I'm all ready to go, so why don't we jump right in? This newest Mean Girls is based off of the stage musical, which premiered in 2017 and was adapted from the iconic 2004 comedy film, which we all know and love. Now, I haven't seen the Broadway musical, but the original film is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I'm so excited to review the new film with you all. Like most remakes, sequels, spin offs, and any sort of subsequent renditions of films, this film was obviously not as good as the original, but I very much enjoyed it and I thought it did the story justice. I feel like the cast as a whole did a really good job at bringing back all the characters, although some definitely stood out more than others. Angourie Rice was perfectly fine as Katie Heron. She wasn't anything extraordinary in my opinion, and nobody will ever play Katie Heron like Lindsay Lohan did, but she got the job done just fine. Reneé Rapp was so good as Regina. She demanded the screen every scene she was in, and her singing voice is fire. She is such a queen. Bebe Wood played the role of Gretchen, and I felt like she nailed the facial expressions, mannerisms, and the overall unhinged vibe that is Gretchen Wieners. My absolute favorite casting of the whole film was Avantika as Karen. Oh my god, her comedic timing is so good. She had so many iconic one-liners that made me laugh out loud in the theater, and she just completely captured the unintelligent innocence of Karen, and I loved every minute of it. Ali Carvalho's Janice I found a little annoying, and she just kind of bugged me a little bit. I couldn't put my finger on why, but I don't think that she quite lived up to Lizzie Kaplan's portrayal. But I will say that she has a very powerful singing voice, which we know from her singing as Moana. And I did really like her wardrobe and style aspect that she brought to Janice, so I'll give her that. Jaquel Spivey slayed as Damien, and he was just as iconic and funny as Daniel Franzese. Christopher Briney was fine as Aaron, nothing really more to say about him. Busy Phillips was hilarious as Regina's mom. That was a really good casting in my opinion, but nobody will ever compare to Amy Poehler as Regina's cool mom in the original movie. Jenna Fischer was warm and compassionate as Katie's mom, so the scenes with her and Angourie Rice were really nice to see. Tina Fey and Tim Meadows reprised their roles as Miss Norbury and Principal Duval and were just as good, if not better, than in the original. And I gotta give a shout out to Tina Fey because she wrote both films and did a killer job both times. She is so talented. I love her so much. And lastly, I want to mention that there was a surprise cameo from one of the original cast members towards the end of the film. I won't say who it is for those of you who haven't seen it, but I loved it and ate every second of it up. I also felt like this movie did an excellent job of telling the whole story without making it a carbon copy of the original movie. It had a number of differences that made it its own. Some of the more notable differences include Katie's father was not shown on screen or mentioned at all. Some of the subplots and scenes I felt were a bit sped up and faster played out than in the original movie, which I think they might have done to save time for the musical numbers. Some of the characters' last names were changed, including Karen, Janice, and Kevin G. Social media and technology played a much bigger part in this one, which makes sense as those concepts were not as advanced in 2004. And I thought that difference was really fascinating to see, and I felt like they did a really good job of incorporating that. And the biggest difference of all, which was the main reason for the movie, was all the musical numbers, which made for a very catchy soundtrack. Some of the songs that I liked the most included songs called Apex Predator, Someone Gets Hurt, and Not My Fault, which plays at the end credit sequence at the Spring Fling Dance, and that was such an iconic scene. In terms of awards, we are very far away from next year's awards, so it's hard to say how this film will fare this early on in the game. But I don't think this movie was made with the intention of getting any awards. I think it simply existed to give audiences a fun time and some nostalgia, a little walk down memory lane. And that's what it did for me. But if I had to guess right now, I think that Reneé Rapp will get nominated for Best Actress in a Comedy or Musical at the Golden Globes. And I think that the film could get in for Best Film, Comedy, or Musical at the Golden Globes. And for the Oscars, it has a long shot of getting into adapted screenplay if that category ends up being a weak field. And I don't think that this would happen, but I would be absolutely pumped to see Not My Fault getting into Best Original Song. I would like to give this film an overall rating. I would give this film an 8.4 out of 10. For all the reasons I mentioned already, I really did like this take on the iconic story. Nothing will ever be as good as the original, which I probably would give close to a 10 out of 10. But all in all, it was an awesome movie. And if you haven't seen it yet, go to your nearest AMC and go check it out. Thank you all so much for watching. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Instagram account at The Awards Gambit. Stay tuned for more movie reviews as we await more award shows on this long but exciting award season. I hope you all have an amazing weekend, and I will catch you next time on The Awards Gambit.